Today, we're going to examine how I've been using Instagram, or I've used Instagram, to grow my mixing and mastering studio based here in Melbourne, Australia. And by doing the things I'm going to show you, it's allowed me to consistently achieve two goals using the platform. And those two goals have helped me build this YouTube channel, build up a podcast, and develop the best newsletter for working audio pros. And before we dive into this, I encourage you to subscribe to the newsletter at panoramamastering.com/newsletter, because not only is it the best newsletter for working audio pros, I'm currently putting together a masterclass called Studio Flow. It's the ultimate toolkit for invoicing, email correspondence, and getting paid. And as I put that together, if you're part of the newsletter, you get behind the scenes. You get to have a little bit of an input onto how it is pieced together. Now, Instagram. I do two sort of posts. The first one, we're going to look at the carousels, because every week, every second week, every month, whenever I get a chance, I'll put all my releases that have come out of the studio over that given period, whether it be a week, a month, a fortnight, and I'll put them into a carousel that looks a bit like this. Now, I think it was 2 weeks ago these went out, on 12th of August. There are 46 individual professionals in the music industry who are tagged in these posts. These two posts alone, across 17 releases, 46 professionals who worked on it, reached 4,605 other Instagram accounts, okay? So that's how many people saw it. It doesn't mean they engaged in it or they liked it, they saw it. Now, why are these key metrics for me? I don't care how many people like the post, I care how many people see the posts. Because two things which this does, and two things I'm always trying to do when I'm using Instagram. The first thing I'm trying to do is validate connections. What this means is when people see a carousel like this and they see other professionals, mixing engineers, producers, and then they see my studio name next to each of these releases alongside these other professionals, it validates connections. So other professionals, you got to remember, my target market is engineers and producers. When engineers and producers see other engineers and producers working with me on records, professionals like to engage with other professionals who work with other professionals. Simple as that. It's not a chop shop mastering studio in the basement on isotope ozone that's been cracked or anything. This is a legitimate studio that is working with legitimate professionals, and other people who want to align themselves with those connections will connect with these projects, with these professionals, and they'll go, I want to work with that studio. So that's the first thing. That's the first thing I do, and I encourage other people, if you have releases, scream them from the top of the hill. Okay, and this is something Ryan Serhant, $1 Million Listing New York, he talks about early on in his career, and I know this is a bit of a sidetrack. He goes, after he sold his first $5 million home, he was the $5 million listing agent. After he sold his $10 million home, he was a $10 million listing agent. So whatever your successes are as an engineer, those should be, and that doesn't mean you hide any of your releases. You share all your releases. Every single thing that goes through the studio, I scream from the top of a hill, so everybody knows those are the records I worked on. These are the people who were involved. These are the professionals who we can accredit this great sound to, and then that validates a connection. So that's the first thing. You want to validate a connection. The second thing this does, so first thing, it validates connection with other professionals, and other professionals who aren't even part of the project see it. The second thing it does, it aligns values. So the beauty of doing this is people who have heard the records, people who like the records, people who like the artists, people who like the people on the team. Okay, this is not necessarily about connection anymore. This is about value sets. Okay, so people who value a particular style of music, a particular production quality, a particular team member, a particular way people present themselves, or people who are involved in those projects, they align that value with my studio, with my brand, with what I bring to the table. So you've got to understand, I'm not concerned with the fact that one post got 33 likes. I care the fact that it reached 4,605 accounts, and 4,605 accounts that saw it had the opportunity to either value the connections of professionals in these releases alongside the studio, or align their values with the releases and go, hey, I really value these sort of records. This engineer, this studio worked on these sort of records. I would like to engage with them. That's what it does. That's how it builds up a mixing and mastering business. That's how these posts, albeit not being the glamorous, 200,000 views or whatever, or likes, or however people are metricing this stuff, these social influencers, I'm keeping it low key like this. Good, so that's the first style of one I'm doing. The second style is whenever I release a YouTube video like this one, I actually post a carousel with the music in it. So you'll have the music video, 2 shots of the music video, and then the artwork. And this is more engaging because it's a carousel, it's a video, people can hear the music, people can hear the work. And I do that pretty often. It's good fun. Whenever I have a video release, I make an effort to do this. Again, the exact same 2 other values, visibility, visible connection, and align in value, it allows these posts to do. And often the artists jump on board, the producers jump on board, they share it, they want to see other people, you know, they want to make it visible to other people. So they do pretty well in terms of posts. So I want to just summarize. If you take 2 things away from this, when you post and share your releases, your goal should be to do 2 things. What are they? I'm asking the question because it's something that I want to do more in my videos, where not only do I spout information, I give people opportunity to think about the information and test themselves. The next thing is I might have to go into my, how do I get here? Archive, that's where it's at. Archive, stories archive. There we are. Okay, so you can see all the stories I post. Cool. Okay, so there are a few things I post in my stories which are really important. Now, these are the things which grow this YouTube channel and my podcast and my newsletter. There are 3 things. The first thing is, let's get to a tweet. Okay, I'll post a tweet like this, and these tweets and these tweets, the value of these tweets are in the fact that what I'm trying to do with the tweets are create short snippets of value, you know, that resonates with people and actually helps people, and then push them towards my newsletter. And the reason why I'm trying to push more and more people towards the newsletter is because it is not mandated by a social platform like YouTube. Like in YouTube, you'll notice that my videos are getting less and less produced because I don't enjoy doing the whole YouTubery, clickbaity sort of format where it has to be rushed and you have to be, you know, high energy. I want to just genuinely produce value for people. So that's why over at the newsletter, panoramamastering.com/newsletter, I'm trying to direct people there. And I use stories to do that, in the sense that I'll share a tweet or take a screenshot of a tweet and then tell people, well, if you want to learn more about any of these given topics, the best newsletter for working audio pros, that's where you can go. So that's the first thing. I use stories for that. And stories work pretty effectively because people who tend to watch them are more personally engaged or directly engaged with me. So it reaches a good audience or an active audience. So they're engaged. The other one is for the podcast I'm putting out daily. I just share the podcast there. I've only used Instagram stories to share the podcast. And I think that in 1 month, we're at 1,200 downloads on the podcast, the Anti-Loudness Loudness Club, which is pretty cool. And that's just me doing what I'm doing now, just talking each morning about shit I really enjoy. Not much more to that. It's just an avenue I wanted to explore where I could be a bit more looser in my format. And the third thing I do is I share YouTube videos on the stories. And again, similar sort of thing. It's great awareness for the YouTube. A little hack, actually, anybody who's getting started on YouTube and wants to use Instagram to push to YouTube, here's what you can do. Run polls. I used to run them, I don't run them anymore, but basically it would be a video topic and I'd run a contentious poll where there were like polar opposite answers, and you know you'd get a 50-50 split. And everybody who voted on the poll, I'd thank them for voting on the poll and then share with them the video or the YouTube video to go check out. So it could be like compress or EQ, compress after equalization or before equalization, or EQ before compression or after, and people would give their opinion, and then I'd share the video with them saying, thanks for voting. Well, here's what I think, and then I'd share the video. So that's a good way to do it. So there you have it. That's how I use Instagram. It has helped me build my business. It isn't the crux. It's probably a small portion. It's probably like 5 to 6% of the growth of my business I can attribute to Instagram. However, I still see it as a critical conduit for like sort of directing traffic outwards into new ventures, as well as garnering attention in terms of industry attention amongst professionals to have visibility on what I'm doing at the studio with other professionals. Hope you enjoyed that. Until next time, take care.